The holidays mean spending time and feasting with your loved ones, but it can be a tricky time for those living with diabetes. Turkey, mashed potatoes, and decadent desserts often make up the holiday spread. In honor of American Diabetes Month, we're exploring how you can enjoy the holiday eats while still maintaining a healthy diet. Hi everyone, I'm Daniela Contreras. I'm here with Enloe's registered dietitian and diabetes specialist Buck August to talk about how to enjoy holiday meals while keeping your blood sugar levels low. Thank you so much, Buck, for being here today.
It's my pleasure.
So let's start with what is diabetes and how does it affect the body?
So diabetes is basically just too much sugar in the blood. It can be caused by a few different things. There are a couple main types of diabetes. With type 1, usually the body completely stops making insulin. And insulin is part of the main role of insulin is to lower blood sugar. So if you're not making insulin, you tend to have blood sugars that are too high. Type 2 diabetes is much more common. And normally people are not making maybe quite as much insulin as they used to. And then their body starts resisting the insulin. And so the insulin can't lower the blood sugar as well. And if you have high blood sugars, it can cause all sorts of problems in your body.
So now that the holidays are coming, what are some of the tips that we can provide to the people who have diabetes?
The holidays can be super tricky for diabetes. A lot of the foods that we tend to eat around the holidays tend to have a lot of carbohydrates, maybe a lot of sugar with the sweets and desserts. So there's some different things that you can do. One is just being mindful of what you're eating. Sometimes there's a tendency to go from Halloween through New Year's, just feasting the whole time. So if you already have some good habits, don't let those habits go by the wayside for that whole period of time. Continue with your good healthy habits, and then maybe just pick and choose the certain actual holiday days to have a special meal here and there.
Is there any specific meal or a specific type of meal that we completely tell people to avoid?
Not really. There are definitely some foods and some drinks that really have a tendency to spike blood sugars. So sweet drinks, so like sodas and juices and things like that. Maybe some holiday cocktails may cause blood sugars to go really high. Desserts, mashed potatoes. Thanksgiving, oftentimes we'll have yams and mashed potatoes and rolls and all the desserts and everything. So it's not that any of those are specifically off limits, but you just want to be really mindful of how much of them you're eating, and maybe don't have big portions of all of them at the same time.
Okay. And then what are some of the meals that we do recommend people with diabetes to eat?
Yeah, so good healthy habits still apply. So have a good source of protein. So for instance, like on Thanksgiving, a lot of people tend to have turkey or maybe ham or something like that. Have some vegetables, maybe a salad, maybe other cooked vegetables. You can still include some of the carbs, but just kind of balancing out like that. Think about half your plate maybe is vegetables, about a quarter of the plate, maybe up to your fist is your carbs. So pick and choose and keep the carb portion maybe the size of your fist, and then about a palm size for the protein.
And what if someone who has diabetes does have their blood sugar levels spiked? What should they do?
There's a couple of things that you can do. Go for a walk. If you're able to go outside, go for a walk or do some sort of activity. The activity helps to bring the blood sugar back down faster usually. Drink some water. Depending on the medication, some people take certain medications that can help to lower blood sugar. You don't necessarily want to just take a bunch of extra medication or anything like that, but talk to your doctor if blood sugars are running higher. You may need some medication adjustments. But yeah, just generally speaking, move, drink water, and then don't keep eating more carbs right at that time.
Can you move or like exercise preemptively?
Yeah. That's actually a great strategy. So a lot of people, again, like on Thanksgiving, here locally we have the Run for Food, or it's other places they call like a turkey trot. So you start the day with a 5K, you get some good activity. And when you're active, your body actually can lower your blood sugars a lot better. You can use your insulin better to bring the blood sugars down.
So is not eating sweets the best way to avoid spiking our blood sugar?
That's part of it for sure, but the other foods like white rolls, mashed potatoes, rice, other processed carbs, those can really spike blood sugar too. So it's important to be mindful of those.
Okay, and then when we're cooking, is there anything that we have to be mindful to prevent that?
You can do a few things. So some people will modify recipes. Oftentimes you can cut down, if a recipe calls for sugar, you can cut that way down, or you can use an alternative sweetener like stevia or Splenda or something like that. Some people, instead of using white flour, they might use whole wheat flour if they're making rolls or something. So you can make some tweaks and changes like that. But most of it really is just watching the portions and not eating like too many carb foods or too much at once.
And then some people might not take diabetes seriously. What are some of the negative lifelong effects that it can have?
Yeah, so high blood sugar is kind of like a toxin to our body. It can cause a lot of damage. So things like our eyes, it can affect your vision. Things like fingers and toes, people will start to develop neuropathy where they get numbness and tingling in their fingers and toes. It can cause pain. It can affect our heart. It can affect the kidneys. Diabetes is the #1 cause of kidney disease. So throughout the body, it can cause a lot of problems. So it's a very serious thing and important to take it seriously.
So when people lose limbs, is it because they just let it go and like keep eating sugars?
Sometimes, if blood sugar is high, the body has a hard time healing. And what will happen sometimes is maybe somebody's developed neuropathy. So they've kind of lost the feeling in their feet. Maybe they get a little injury on their foot, but they don't realize it because they can't feel it. And then the body has a hard time healing and that can progress. And so in cases like that's sometimes where people might lose toes or part of the leg.
So it's definitely something people need to take very seriously.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then for people who are not quite there, they're pre-diabetic, what are some of the steps they can take to stay healthy in the holidays?
Yeah, all the same things that help with diabetes and help to keep blood sugars down, we can do ahead of time. So mindful of the carbs, don't overdo the carb portions, easy on the desserts, stay active, and then continuing the healthy habits, the rest of the time as well.
And sometimes it's difficult too because as a family member, you sometimes don't realize that you can be supportive. So for those people who have family members with diabetes, how can they support them?
Encouraging the family to be active together. So you sign everybody up for the Run for Food together. Doing some other activities. If the weather's not so nice outside, maybe bust out the Nintendo Switch and do some sports together. So you're getting up and you're moving around. Have wholesome options available. So for a holiday meal, sure, have all the traditional things, but make sure there's some vegetables, drinks that don't have sugar available, whether that's like LaCroix or you can make some infused water or whatever, just so there's other good options available.
Perfect. Is there anything else that you would like to add that I didn't ask you?
In general, whether somebody has diabetes, pre-diabetes or not, these are just good healthy habits for all of us. And if we start and we establish these healthy habits, oftentimes we can prevent diabetes or pre-diabetes in the first place. So these are just good things for all of us to follow.
That's definitely right. Well, thank you so much for being here today.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed today's discussion, be sure to catch Enloe's podcast, Health Matters. We placed a link to it in the comments field. Goodbye for now.